Maybe that, in my view, is the way that the FA thought they could help appease the coaches of Ghana. But the coaches are not happy.
You guys are still not happy?
We are still not happy. Look, I'm telling you for a fact, we are still not, I'm not happy. And I've spoken to lots of the senior coaches. They are all not happy.
What is the problem again?
The problem is, they don't give us Lippert as a technical director. George, how many times have we not sat here, I mean, Coach Osman and myself, that if you're going to bring us somebody who, at the mention of his name, every coach in Ghana will bow simply because we will realize that, look, we've got something to learn from this man. So for the period for which he will be around, let's get closer. Let's tap from him so that when he leaves,
you can take over.
We'll take over.
But you think Bernard Lippert is not the man? You don't think he's a man?
For somebody whose highest coaching credentials is for him to have coached the under-23 team of Azerbaijan, for him to have been a caretaker manager for Eintracht Frankfurt some 20-something years ago, for him to have coached the under-17 of Azerbaijan, the Black Stars of Ghana in 2010, we were one kick away from getting to the semi-finals of the World Cup. That alone should have told the Ghana Football Association, those who sat on that interview, the president included, the vice president included, the general secretary included, all of them, the decision makers at the FA, we were one kick away from getting to the semi-finals of the World Cup. That alone should have told them that we deserve better. We deserve a technical man who will come and show direction. You have listened to interviews of the man. Do you think that listening to him, this is what we need? Yes, some people say, Coach Chris, why? Let's give him the chance to work.
Yeah.
Look, some of us can see beyond.
Well, because sometimes not all the pedigrees that work. Sometimes you don't need a pedigree. You don't need to be the technical director of Germany or Brazil.
No,
you know, but then you have information. It's
amazingly, as part of his CV, he puts in there, I am the first German to have scouted a player from China to have played in the Bundesliga. And you want me to list the number of Ghanaians who's played in the Bundesliga? From Yegola, Abedi Ayopele, all of them.
Tanko,
Ibrahim Tanko, Sika Kona, the current coach of the Black Stars. I can go on and on and on and on. Was that enticing enough for them to have looked at that CV and said, this is the man we want? What does he bring on board? What is it that he will teach Professor Minta? He's virtually going to be learning from Professor Minta.
In actual fact, there's an interview of him.
You see? And the FA is behaving that now, because for this one, it is not going to be paid by the government of Ghana. We will have our way. Nobody said don't have your way. But in having your way, you should have gone for the best. At least something closer to the best. That has always been our plea. We pleaded with them. That look, because the danger is that, God forbid, in the case where Sika Kono is unable to produce the result, the immediate fix will be to ask this man to step in as head coach of the Black Stars. Can you imagine that?
So you are
all those watching me, can you imagine?
So your problem is that he doesn't have a good enough CV.
No, he's not done enough to convince me.
Or you think that he doesn't understand the African system?
That is it?
So let me do your problems. First one is that the coaches believe that his CV was not good enough.
But we've got better coaches with better CVs here. He comes nowhere closer to Salas Bobotete. He comes nowhere closer to Masaoud Didi Dramani. He comes nowhere closer to Professor Minta himself. To Akwesi Appiah. He comes nowhere closer to any of them. So it would have been better to ask Akwesi Appiah with all his experience, World Cup coach, AFCON. Okay, go and sit there. If you don't, go and sit there and see what that, because Akwesi even brought Sika Akono on board. I can mention Bashir Hayford. He comes nowhere closer to them. We are in Africa. You understand? So we will not go and have a seat. But this is a man who cannot even boast of coaching a German team in the Bundesliga. And we've asked such a person to come and be our technical director. He's going to show direction on how our football is supposed to be.
I'm going to come to you on a bit in how CK and Bernard Lippert link up. That's one for me. But Seidu Adamu has joined us, chief editor of 442ghana.com. Seidu, how are you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm good.
He's my wonderful brother.
And you chose to bring your Manchester United jersey. Anyway, we wish you the very best of luck. We wish you the very best of luck, Manchester United. We know it's going to be a tough season in which you finish.
Thank you so much.
Tough season for you guys, and you finish, 7th or 6th. We thank God for your lives.
We only get rid of Ole and bring in a proper coach. And
maybe that will work for you.
Say, let's support the coach, okay?
Seidu, we're having a chat about Bernard Lippert, and obviously on our show today we're going to look at how the two of them link up, CK Akono and Bernard Lippert. I'll be interested in how the structure is going to look like and all. But tell me, what you make of the man? Coach is not impressed. His CV, his experience, he does not even think he knows enough about African football. What do you think?
Well, my opinion will not be far different from what coach holds, because I'm looking at the criteria set forth by the Ghana Football Association in appointing the technical director. And if you look at what they expect of the new technical director, they want that a person should have working knowledge of the activities of FIFA, CAF, and the GFA. So the first question you ask yourself is that is Bernard Lippert, does he have that working knowledge of the Ghana Football Association, enough working knowledge of the GFA, and also enough working knowledge of CAF? Because this is a man who has never stepped on the African continent before. This is a man who has never worked on the African continent before. This is a man who do not have they do not even understand the cultural setup of African and Ghanaian footballers. So if you say you want someone with vast knowledge in the activities of GFA and FIFA, then I think certainly it should not be Bernard Lippert. You also want to have someone who has a high work ethics. That one we may not be able to ascertain what he did with Azerbaijan and also at Frankfurt, especially taking into consideration that he got demoted year in, year out. So these are questions that need to be answered. One other aspect of the discussion is that the FA failed to put in place its qualification. And you know that qualification is as much important as experience. But if you look at the publication, the FA only analyzed his experience and never put in place his qualification. Meanwhile, the FA requires the man to have, the person to have a CAF license A or equivalent. Now, we do not know if he has got this license or this experience, this qualification coming into the job, especially when he's going to work with highly qualified personnel like Professor Minta and so on and so forth. So I do not hold any contrary opinion to what the coach Nimely says. I feel that you could have gotten a much more qualified and experienced personnel in this job than Bernard Lippert.
Okay, let's do this. The structure of a technical directorate is that the coaches report to him.
He's the boss. In simple terms, he's the boss. Everybody reports to him, including the Black Stars coach himself. He's the boss. Unless maybe the FA wants to give us a completely different, but they can't do that. They can't be a different structure to that.
So he's
the boss.
He's going to influence selection.
You will have to report to him.
And he's going to influence
CK Akono will have to sit with him at every time T. Why it should be player A and not player B? Because he will also be monitoring.
Yes.
And CK and Coach David Duncan, when they say it is Richard Ofori, he needs to go and tell why it is. When they say, look, it is let's say a certain player, and then he asks, why this and not that? So he's the boss. At the end of the day, he sits there, and CK will have to present every match report. I'm looking at the direct relationship between him and CK.
Yeah.
Every match report to him. And look at it. If you've got somebody who doesn't understand the way we do our things here, he will have his own match report. And then, so if CK presents his and he compare it to what he has, naturally, that should be a room to get him to what? Understand and then begin to see the other side of things. I hope he does. But usually when these people come and they realize that your report and their report completely contradict, then they begin to look down upon you. Come on, he should have seen this. Come on, he should have seen that. These are basic things that he should have seen. And if that becomes, and for somebody who, like Adamu has just repeated what I just, for somebody who has not been up there and kept being demoted everywhere he went, from 23 Azerbaijan to this, all the way to the 17 level, he never went up as a coach. He was caretaker, he got demoted back to the under 23 of Eintracht Frankfurt. So he has never been given the opportunity to show himself. All of a sudden, I repeat, that is what hurts me the most. For a country that was one kick away from the semi-finals of a World Cup, this is what we have presented.
Okay,
as the technical
let me come to you, Seidu. In fact, indeed, as a technical director, he's supposed to as well pay attention to the kind of football we play in Ghana. That's an important area. So, Ghana Premier League coaches, the national teams, the youth teams, we have to find out. These days, we've got a lot of juvenile competitions because the Ghana FSA, they want to use juvenile competitions as the cradle in which we can, show up the quality in our national team. So now, how dangerous does it get? If the man does not know about the football, how does he ultimately help us to play the brand of football we want to play? Or is that where Professor Minta steps in?
Yes, that is why some of us already complained about the duration. If you look at the requirements or the responsibilities that we set out by the Football Association, obviously 2 years is not enough to do this, because for him to be able to appreciate the level of one, the cultural setup, two, the style of play, the make, even the tradition, and even to talk of the tribal aspect of football. Don't forget that Ghana's geographical distribution also affects our style of play. For instance, if you go to the Western region, they are known for producing wingers. If you go to the Central region, they are known for producing midfielders. If you come to the Greater Accra region, they are known for producing defenders. The Northern region is known for producing strikers. Therefore, for you to have someone to appreciate all these things, you need to give him enough time, because the man needs at least 1 year to gather all this information. He needs additional year to analyze the information. Then he can begin to set up what to do and what not to do. So having Professor Minta is an addition, but it is not enough to be able to appreciate all these things, especially in a league where we have an amalgamation of local and foreign coaches. Because all these foreign coaches you have, like the coach for Legon Cities, Slavisa for King Faisal, you also have Lem for Interlife. All these coaches come with a certain philosophy. Now, couple that against the coaches of Yawa Champong, Maxwell Konedu, and the local coaches. All these guys come with a different style of play. So the technical director would have a lot of job to do. That is why some of us have complained about the number of years given to him. 2 years is certainly not enough.
Seidu, let me ask you this. Did they ever go for this man just because they didn't have money? And because FIFA is going to help them to pay him? Is it,
I disagree with that fact that FIFA is going to pay him. How much is that FIFA fund?
Yeah, because I'm just wondering what coaxed them into it. Go ahead, because I'm wondering what coaxed them, apart from, FIFA is going to give them some grants to pay them and all of that. Is that the reason?
Yes, but George, that is not enough. FIFA's grant for technical director is $50,000. And strike $50,000 against 1 year. That is just about $4,000 or $3,000 a month. And you think Bernard Lippert is going to take $3,000 a month?
No, he's taking more than that.
No.
He's taking more than that.
Bernard Lippert is going to take in excess of $10,000. So the issue of FIFA is paying comes in neither here nor there. It is the taxpayers' money and the football development money that is going to be used to pay this man. So let's diffuse that ideology that is going to be paid by FIFA. Bernard Lippert is going to be paid more than $5,000, and therefore $50,000 for a year is not enough to pay. So let's diffuse that. We as Ghanaians will be paying Bernard Lippert whatever he deserves as a technical director. Don't forget that we are going to accommodate him. We are going to provide him a source of transport to do his rounds. And all these things would certainly not be enough to pay with $50,000. So let's diffuse that. We are going to pay him, and therefore we must have a say in whatever he does. He's going to be virtually be in charge, and in fact, he's going to be the one of the deputy general secretaries. It means that everything technical is going to be under him.
Yes.
And I expected that this person should have had a little bit of experience in refereeing. This person should have had a little bit of experience in women football. This person should have had a little bit of experience in grassroots development. He should have had a little bit of experience in sports medicine. Does Bernard Lippert come in with all these things?
No.
Because the technical directorate is also going to have departments. And some of the departments will include the women football desk, the referees desk, which is headed by Alex Forte, the coaching education, the elite coaches department should also be there, medics, and even some aspect of club licensing and security. Does this man come with all this experience? So you see, being the technical directorate should not be about coaching alone. That is why I had issues with all these Ghanaian coaches who claim to have experience in all these things. To be the technical directorate, you must appreciate all aspects of football, which is not only about coaching, but also about refereeing, also about women football. And don't forget that FIFA has a new development project on women football. We do not know whether Bernard Lippert has any hint or any idea of how women football development goes about. And these are areas that he is going to supervise. So for me, I think it's not only enough to say that we should be quiet. I think we must interrogate the issues to its latter.
I think it's made the point. It's cleared the point out there. That's an important one. Let me do this as well. Let me do this as well. Now, how does it affect? You know, Atta Poku joined us. Atta, how are you doing? How are you doing this morning, Collins?
Oh, George, I'm very well. And you?
I'm great. Yes. It's good to have you. And just at the best, I think you're trying to position. So you position yourself and let's do this.
Yeah, I've done that very well.
Good, because we've just gone around the table. We're talking about Bernard Lippert. It's amazing. My topic was supposed to be how Bernard Lippert links up with Siki Akono. As I'm realizing on the show, we've got more problems with Bernard Lippert even before we deal with the linking up. So tell me what you've also made. Coach Nimely and Seidu clearly saying that there are problems. One with the time we've given him to do, and then his qualification, the fact that he needs a lot in terms of having to handle this well. What are you seeing from where you stand?
It goes back to the earlier nuisance here, George. It was so clear.
Yeah.
Get us the right guy or forget about it. This is the last thing you want to see at this point in time. There has been so much rancor before he was appointed. Now he's been appointed, and then the first between him and Sika was the fact that Sika played in Germany. Lippert is a German, so they should get along pretty well. Now we have this. So George, we ask ourselves, are we solving the problem or we are creating a different problem? And listening to my colleagues, one of the things that is striking me down is that, George, the last time we had some semblance of technical direction in our way of play was between 2009 and 2012. Now, why do I say this? When Milovan Rajovac was around, he was so close to Celastete and under 20 team.
Yeah.
If you looked at the way the under 20 team played in Egypt, it was not any different from the way Ghana was playing at the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah,
and the Chan in Africa then.
And the Chan, I think I got that.
The Chan and the Chan also did a similar thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you look at the transition between the under 20 team, the Black Stars, as well as the Chan team, it had become seamless. You take three different players. One of them is Emmanuel Ajimambedu.
Yeah.
Who had gone through the Chan team, the Black Star, and then under 20 team. So if you look at our system very well, it got to a point where Milovan Rajovac told us that he was going to support his friend Celastete in Egypt.
Yeah.
Now when he got there, from the game against South Africa, we started tightening up. That was the round of 16.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We started tightening up at the back. We were not shipping in goals because we had done so in the group games. Against Uruguay, we shipped goals. Against England, we didn't. But when Rajovac got there, you could see a system where our defenders and midfielders were soaking up pressure so much and then releasing certain players, Adia and then Ransford, through the day. So it came as little surprise that one of the key performers tactically in that under 20 team, Poku, was an integral part of our Angola African Cup of Nations
Yes, a young chap.
Of course.
On the right wing.
Injury,
Then for the injury, he would have gone to the World Cup.
That guy was great, yes.
World Cup squad.
Yes, I agree. That's just...
Now, you go back and you look at the role Ajman Bedu played. We all knew Ajman Bedu as an offensive player in Ghana. All of a sudden, he had become the anchor man in the middle together with Rabiu.
Yeah.
George, what Ajman Bedu did with his transition and adaptation at the anchor role, is it any different from what Antoniana did for us at the World Cup in South Africa?
Very
and he was our best performer, Antoniana.
Yes.
This was an offensive player who had been transferred or transitioned into a defensive player. So we've seen benefits of having a technical direction for our football before. You've seen the local made one with the 5-year development plan with Ben Kofi, which has been the biggest beneficiary to our football.
Exactly.
And then the continuity between Mr. Nyantechi, Raivach, and then our national teams then. Now we've not gotten anywhere, and we don't even know where we are starting this journey from, George. So let's ask ourselves, what exactly is Lippert coming to do? We read a fantastic job description in the media. Only for us to start with this. Where are we going to?
I'm really worried this morning, especially for the national team and what we've got, because we need to. The thing, what we've stopped doing is producing players for the national team,
and that is
and that means that you are killing your national team basically.
Exactly.
Because players, and I was telling them last time when I went through that Germany experience, players play the German national team understanding what it means to be a German before they get there.
Exactly.
Well, so I like it when you want to bring players and everything, but it takes a longer period to understand what it means to be a Ghanaian to play national team. Now, tell me, how does CK manage this? Because it's going to be another problem for CK.
Is it?
Yes.
The best way to go is for, I don't know whether maybe from the FA or between the two gentlemen, because one person surely is the boss.
Someone must accept that.
Yes,
I am not good enough. You have to handle this part.
Exactly.
That must be clear.
If you don't clearly define the rules of the two gentlemen, look, I know CK, I know Coach Duncan. Yes, they will be reporting to Lippert, but it is not anything at all that they are going to be very comfortable telling him, or they are going to be very comfortable accepting whatever he's going to be saying to them. No. Knowing these two gentlemen,
he must demonstrate he knows.
He must demonstrate to them that he's got absolute control on the subject matter. Or they'll begin to oppose him. And the moment they start opposing him, it is an indictment to those who appointed him as technical director. Because like I said from the beginning, we all expected somebody that if CK even sees, if Coach Duncan even sees, the pedigree alone sends a message across to them that, oh, Charlie, we have CK in particular, very young in this job, still very young in this job, but this is somebody I can learn from. Lippert doesn't present himself like that. So the problem, which we all hope shouldn't come, is going to be when the FA does not define the clear roles of the extent to which Lippert can interfere in the job of CK. I believe that for now, Lippert's primary responsibility will be to help establish that directorate very, very well and focus on juvenile and women's football. And it's because it is when we get it right at that stage, that is where we'll feel the impact. If you listen to Collins, because we got it right from the days of Ben Kofi, that is why Milovan could, and then Salas Bobo could do the sort of things they did. So if we get it right at the juvenile, at the coast level, under 17 level, under 20 level, look, it will reflect in the Black Stars. And at the end of the day, you realize that Lippert's job that he would have done so well at the juvenile level will begin to reap. And CK will have no option not to liaise with Lippert to do proper transition. But if Lippert comes and he says, look, you play this tactics, I want you to do this next time, I want you to do this, put this man in the next time, bench this man, which is very capable, which is what some of these guys will do.
His interviews are coming out next week.
Yes, and if you listen to the interviews that he's beginning to grant, it is going to be extremely dangerous. Head-on collision between him and CK. And that is something that me, if I'm the head of the coach of them, I will accept. Because if I call the player, and I'm to justify why the player, and then I meet them on the pitch, tell them what they should do within the system based on the position. They come and say something else. Surely they'll be confident.
Papa, let me take your thoughts on this before I go to Seidu. How can we prevent the head-on collision, or it is meant to happen? We should just get ready. Because the interviews I've heard that you hear, I'm sure you have heard some of them already. He has granted some interviews, which we are waiting to play this week. So this week, you understand why we are doing this topic. But how do you prevent a head-on collision, or we should accept it? It's happening.
You are in a quagmire. You are in a deep hole. You are looking to dig yourself out of the hole, and then you are starting with this. How? You can't. And for me, everybody at the FA should know that if anything bad happens, the burden of responsibility we push on the FA. It's their job to prevent this. I was listening to Adamu, and then one thing came to mind. George, whilst we are fighting over definition of roles, the technical directorate of Mali and Guinea have just dispatched the next generation of young boys to Austria and France.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. It's true. It's true.
Whilst we are busily worrying about that, whether Lippert can do things that we even don't expect him to do, the Senegalese and the Generation 4 boys have sent 7, 3 of them in Austria, 4 in France.
And these are natives of these countries.
Yes, natives.
They are not foreign people, Charlie. They are technical directors.
Now the difficulty is that the technical director now has the channel to push these boys through the systems in Europe. And these are the boys we are going to meet in under 20 and under 23.
Yes.
So the issue of, is there going to be a head-on collision? If you really have Ghana football at heart, we should not get to that point.
At all.
Quickly, like Nimely said, you just draw the lines for them. Now look, stop talking, there's work to be done. It's not like we are doing very well. Our national team is not good enough. Our under 20 team is struggling. We won't have an Olympic team until the Olympic Games in Paris in 2024.
Yeah.
So for every country, the next 2 under 20 teams are crucial.
Very,
but for
very
Ghana,
crucial.
it is a make or break. Because if you look at the spine of our national team, it is aging.
Yes.
The spine of our national team is aging. We are transitioning at a period that we are not even sure what we are doing. You go into our midfield, we need new men. The poster boy is 27 years. Maximum 5 years, he's on his way down. That's 2 AFCONs in the current dispensation.
Exactly.
So we have work to do. The idea that there is going to be a collision, there is going to be collision if you don't put the marker down. And I like the fact that there's a German we are dealing with. If it means crashing everybody in the side to get the job done, he will do that. And sorry, forgive me, but Germans like control. Haven't dealt with them. Because they take full responsibility when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And because of that, they tend to ask that, look, give me the powers to do what I want to do, so that you can blame me if I fail.
That's right.
It is very necessary that we draw the lines. The last part of my submission is going to do with what Nimely said. Honestly, I had not thought about it, but I know Duncan very well. And the last picture would be the Kotoko one.
Yes.
He plays, but he's not someone who is so malleable that you can just push around.
He knows his work.
Sika Kono, similarly.
Yeah.
So if they know this is their work, no matter who you are, they'll tell you, look, this is my job.
This is my job.
Stay behind.
Yeah.
Let me tell you an anecdote that happened in Egypt. You know, he was one of the scouts for the national teams.
Yeah.
They
I
asked
know
him
the
for a
story.
PowerPoint presentation, and then he told them that every information you need, I've given you. If you feel that is not enough, stay behind and watch Guinea-Bissau play. So when we played our second game against Cameroon, after the game, CK and Co had to stay behind and watch. Christiapi and Co had to stay behind and watch Guinea-Bissau. Because he had given them the information he felt they needed. Now, if you want PowerPoint and those things, the best PowerPoint is you staying behind and watching them.
Exactly.
So please, we know these gentlemen we are dealing with. Let's not even get to the point where there will be ignition. We might not be able to quench that fire.
Right. Let me come to you, Seidu. Seidu, tell me, now, drawing the lines, laying down the markers, you think the FA can do this?
Well, so I'm just looking at what the FA says. The FA says he's also expected to assess the training program of the national teams.
Training program?
Yes, of the national team.
Okay.
Let me repeat that. He's expected to assess the training program.
Wow.
So it means that he's going to virtually direct how CK Akono's training programs goes, because he's going to have an assessment of it.
Exactly.
And so if you bring your training program and it doesn't conform to that of his,
he brushes that aside.
where does the power lies? Now, he's going to examine reports from players made by the national handlers. So he's already been given that powers already, and that is problematic for me.
Very.
Especially knowing that CK would want to do what we term as building a national team. Now, these expatriates, when they come to Africa, they don't care about building. They know that we want results, and therefore they want to see results instantly. And from the comments I've heard from Lippert, he's one of the few people who also wants results. Therefore, that will rightly go against the ambitions of CK to want to build a national team. And that is where I see the collision cost. Wanting to build, because CK will be assessed against his job against Avram Grant.
Yes.
Avram Grant was accused of not building a national team enough for the future. And that is how I saw CK in his first game, to try to start a certain project. But based on the comments of Lippert, he had to now move along to getting results in his second game. Because I believe if CK had been left alone, he would have experimented again with his first team against Qatar to see how it goes. But because of the presence of Lippert and his comments that the team lacked compact in midfield, CK now had to go for results. So it's obvious. Do we as a nation want results for our national team instantly, or we want to build? That is where we have to draw the lines. If we want to build, then it means that we must decompose the technical directorate from the national team, the national senior team, because I feel that the Black Stars is for promotion. The other department of the technical directorate is development.
Yeah, that's where he should be focused on.
Development.
On development.
Yes.
And leave it to do promotion. But if we add both powers to him, then obvious, it's either CK steps aside for Lippert to
take
handle
the
entire staff like we are seeing in Mali. And for the Mali project, it's so unique. The man that took the team in under 17, under 20 is the same man handling the team now.
Yeah.
So he's done a fantastic progressional job.
Yes.
And that is what we have failed to do as a nation.